Hi everyone, my name is Edward. Hope that you are doing great. Today I'm going to talk about my personal experience on how I get my first internship and tips about how you can get your first internship as well. So first of all, I majored in electrical engineering with a focuses on digital and analog circuit design. My long-term career goal is to keep exploring different area and teams in electrical engineering. And of course, I would like to meet new mentors, new engineers to see what else I can do and play with them. And after I get into a team, my final goal is to make sure that I found what is valuable about myself that could contribute to the team. And I hope that I will be a valuable team player as well. So far I have two internships. The first one I've got is with Freeport McMoran as a process automation engineer. And the second one I got is from a company in Hong Kong called GethCal Capital. And my position name is as a data automation engineer. And both of them add a lot of values into my resume because it helps me to become more confident. And of course, more importantly, I think the good thing about getting an internship would help students to better explore what position is available in their major and also what kind of job will they be working at. So, because for example, for electrical engineer, there are a lot of branches. So, for example, you can become a application engineer, you can become a validation engineer, you can become a testing engineer, or even a design engineer. Without able to try an internship with either one of them, it's really hard for a student to know what exactly they will be doing in a, let's say, semiconductor company. Therefore, if you can get an internship that is related to any one of them as early as possible, it will help you to better refine and narrow down what kind of role that you're looking for yourself. Because I think at the end of the day, it is very important for yourself to notice that what kind of role and what kind of values and ability that you have and you like and you're passionate at, such that you'll be able to provide um, values to the team and to the company. Regarding to how I get my first internship, I actually try a lot of different strategies and approach such that I will be have a higher chance of at least getting an interview. So for example, I always use Handshake because I think Handshake is one of the best tool that for student to do job search and look at what kind of events we'll be hosting at ASU for that month. And the reason that I talk about the event search because I will always try my best to go to every info section that is possible and which is related to my major. The reason that you want to go to an info section is because you'll be able to know more about the company and you'll be able to meet the recruiter usually before the career fair. And of course, you'll be able to give them your resume and have a one-to-one talk with them so that you can give a good first impression to them as well. And what I've actually do besides joining the info section is to apply my application before I go to the career fair. Because in the past, um, if I don't do that, in the past, I go to the career fair and I realize that for most of the time, all they will say to me is, don't forget to apply online. Therefore, I highly suggest everyone to apply the application online before you meet the recruiter. Therefore, maybe during your introduction of yourself, at the end, you can tell them that, like, hey, I've already applied and I really want to know more about how I can move forward with you so that I can land the internship or get an interview. So that's the second tips. And after I meet the recruiter in the career fair, I think around a few days, they actually call me back and set up a phone interview. And during the phone interview, they asked me questions about myself and, of course, some behavioral and technical questions. And after rounds of interview, I get my first internship with Freeport McMoran. I understand that getting rejections could be frustrating. And as a peer career coach, I still get rejections every day. But I think it doesn't matter. I think what's really matter is how you set up your mindset such that you'll be able to take the rejection. For me, I use everything. It's well documented. I will document um, which company I've applied to, what position is that. So even though they send me a rejection, it doesn't matter because I know what else I'm waiting for. So you have to understand that getting a rejection is normal. Getting a rejection doesn't mean that you are bad. It could also be because that position doesn't fit you. And the second thing I want to talk about is as an international student, I understand that I have definitely smaller chances of landing an internship. I'm not sure if people who are not an international students would know that or not, but for us, out of 500 company, there are only maybe 10 to 15 companies that are willing to hire an international student. You might see some pink balloon in the career fair, but and those are the company that will hire us. Therefore, to some people, it might be a bad thing, but for me, I think it's actually not bad because it helps me to narrow down what kind of company that I can apply to. Therefore, I will make sure myself that every application that I'm applying to, every time when I'm talking with the recruiter, I will try my best to be, you know, doing as much preparation as possible, do some research about the company, and I think that actually helps me. Besides going to the info section and using the functional handshake, I think there are some more details that students can work on so that they will have a higher chance of getting an interview. So, for example, in the past, students will ask me what they can put on their resume because they do not have any experience. So, have more hard skill to put on the technical skill session as well. And I think by doing this, it will help a student to first of all put more information on the resume so that the recruiter will be able to understand and know what exactly that student have done. And secondly, you have a better understanding of yourself. So far, the strategy and tips that I've given earlier, I think those are just some of the hardware parts that could help students to have a better job search and maybe build more connections with the company and with the recruiter. But I think what's more important and that helped me to actually stood up from the recruiter is I understand myself well enough such that when I'm introducing myself, they know exactly what I'm looking for and how my skill set is matching the internship that I applied. And I think that's very important because among the sea of engineers, how can you stood out? Besides all the technical skill and achievement you have accomplished, I think one of the way is by understanding what you can provide to them and also have a truly understand of the purpose of applying to that internship because I think nothing will naturally happen without a reason. You can't just say like, okay, I will apply the application now. I sort of have all of their qualification, and they will somehow, somehow give you a proof and provide you the opportunity. That might happen, but rarely happen. If you want to apply to a larger company, I think one thing that is important is you really want to make sure that like you know why you're applying to this company, which is the purpose, what you're trying to achieve, what kind of values you can provide to your company, and for example, like what you can learn from them as well, and how your skill set will match up with the application. So I think by understanding yourself and then being able to present that to the recruiter will help you to stood out. My biggest and final tips for student who is looking for an internship will be do not afraid to try new things. Because the worst case scenario of trying new things is, maybe you failed. So for example, don't be afraid to go to the career fair. Don't be afraid to get rejection. And don't be afraid to get judged by peer career coach by making your first resume review. Because without having the courage to try new things, every tips and strategy that I mentioned earlier won't even happen. Therefore, I highly recommend all students who want to look for an internship to start the process of building a career readiness as early as possible. You can even go to the career fair in your freshman year, even though you might not have as much stuff on your resume and not having as much connection with recruiter or students. You can still go there and learn and see what's going on there, so that next time when you are there, you do better and better and better, and eventually you get a first internship. Therefore, don't be afraid to try new things, and I believe that you'll be able to do that. And good luck.